All right, all right. Welcome to Clear Vision Wednesday. I am Claudia Muehlenweg. I'm the creator of the Natural Clear Vision Method, and this is my weekly show. And today we have a topic that is so dear to my heart. We will talk about foods because that's a question I get all the time. Like, what are the right foods to eat for your eyes? And we have here the master chef, Edie Desser. Let me bring her on. She has an amazing setup. One second. Let me show. Hi, Edie.
Hi.
I'm so excited to have you on the show today because you and I met under really interesting circumstances. You messaged me one day, and this is why I love the work that I do. You messaged me and you said, I did your 21-day program and my vision improved so much and I want to collaborate with you. And I'm like, oh my God, yes. So we ended up creating a 4-part video series, but I'm jumping ahead of my game. So why don't you share with people why you became a master chef, why you are focusing on plants, so that people understand what is your background, right? In terms of doing this.
Hi, everybody. I'm Edie with Garden of Edie. And it all began, I didn't know it all began, but when I was 35, I called my doctor. I was in straight commission sales in radio. And I called him and I said, Dr. Gross, I think my heart's going to explode, like all in the car. I think my heart is going to explode. He says, get in here right now. So I drove to his office. How many doctors do that these days? But I drove to the office. He put me on the treadmill. I'm living in Dallas. He says, you're as strong as a Cowboys football player. I said, thank you, because I did work out a lot. And then he said, let's take your blood pressure. And it was super high, super, super high. He says, oh, you have high blood pressure. I'll give you a pill. I said, oh, for like a month, I'll take a pill for a month and then my blood pressure will be normal. He said, no, Edie, this is genetic. You will have to take a pill for the rest of your life. And if you don't take it, you'll have a stroke. Well, fast forward, now I'm in my 50s and I still have super high blood pressure. But in the meantime, I got out of radio and I went to culinary school because I just had a passion for cooking. So I went to the French Culinary Institute. I didn't want to become a chef. I just wanted to learn the techniques. And so I learned French culinary techniques at the French Culinary Institute. I got a grand diploma, and that was all good. And then the way to my boyfriend's heart was through his stomach. So my Ed asked me to marry him. And then I got really into cooking, even more into cooking after culinary school. And I wanted to learn every technique from modernist cuisine to the smoking to the foaming to everything. And a friend of mine in the radio business called me and says, Edie, I want you to be on the board of the Plantrition Project. It's plant-based doctors who teach professionals, medical professionals all over the world, the power of food as medicine. And I said, I don't even know what you're talking about. Plantrition, no, thank you. She calls me the next year, asked me again. I said, I don't even understand this language. And then I was on the International Association of Culinary Professionals. And there was this organization called Ruby.com. It's ROUXBE.com. And they came out with a new course called Plant-Based Cooking. So I called the owner and I said, what am I going to learn? I mean, I went to the French Culinary Institute. He says, I promise you, you're going to learn so much. And like I said, I love learning new techniques. So I took the course. And guess who's on it? Dr. Clapper. And Dr. Clapper is a plant-based doctor for over 40 years. And he was talking about digestion. And I got to tell you, I had the worst digestion. I had a lot of issues in that area. And he said, if you eat a lot of fiber, then your body will fix. Mechanically, it'll start to work better and you'll be happy. And so I decided to go to True North and once and for all take care of this many-year problem I had. And he taught me exactly how to eat. And it was all whole food, plant-based, salt, oil, sugar-free. And it was at the True North Health in Santa Rosa, California. Well, while I was there, they do all these classes, they have all these videos, and they teach you everything about plant-based eating, salt, oil, sugar-free, how to read your blood tests, on and on and on. And I just swallowed it up. I ate all up, all the 2 weeks I was there. And while I was there, I learned that you can reverse super high blood pressure with a water-only fast and then a plant-based diet, salt, oil, sugar-free. So I came back 6 months later and I did the 8-day water-only fast. And Dr. Clapper says, you're getting too skinny. You're getting too skinny. You got to get off the water fast. And Dr. Goldhammer, who runs it, says 2 more days. But I was weak, so I did. I got off the water fast. And Dr. Clapper said, stay on a whole food, plant-based diet, no salt, oil, sugar, and you'll be fine. And my blood pressure came down from 178 over 115 to 135 over 85. Still not heart attack proof. I went on the diet. I stayed on the diet. A few months later, I went to my doctor here in LA, and it was 98 over 60. No pills, just plants. And so my friend called me, who was running the Plant Nutrition Project, and she says, Edie, I really want you to be on this board. I said, I'm in. I'm plant-based now. And so that's kind of the trajectory of why I eat this way. But in the meantime, I love it. I love it. So I was at the first board meeting, and I'm sitting with all these doctors, and we're talking about how you say it to someone, how you eat. Whole food, plant-based, salt, oil, sugar-free. I said, that is a long way to describe the way we eat. I said, why don't we just call it garden food? I said, ding, I have an organic garden. My name is Edie. I'm going to start Garden of Edie. And here I am.
So thank you so much for sharing your journey. And I absolutely love, I've seen your organic vegetable garden. You and I shot a 4-part video series together. And I just love the food that you make, because I, still used to use sugar and salt. So your food is so delicious, because I think that's something that a lot of people think about. Oh my God, now I have to eat raw carrot sticks. And you actually have in your beautiful rainbow kitchen with all those delicious foods. You will show us some ways to make easy recipes that are really delicious, because like you, French culinary institute is the opposite, right? There's not that I studied it, but it's a lot of cream, and this is like the richest probably cuisine ever. And I love that you use your own health story, that your own health journey kind of catapulted you into eating cleaner. And that similar thing happened to me. And so I cannot wait to learn more. I want to, before we get started with the food, so you did the 21 Day Better Eyesight experience, right? That's how you found me. And I think you found me through Chef AJ, I think.
Yes,
yes. Yeah. So quickly before we get into the food, because we will focus on eye foods today, right? We will focus on recipes that are good for vision, which is good for everything, for the heart. But tell just the viewers just a little bit, when you started the 21 Days to Better Eyesight experience, you were in reading glasses, right? I can't remember.
Yes. So I had 20/15 vision for the longest time, like better than perfect. And then all of a sudden I needed reading glasses. So I went to this doctor, and he says, yeah, you need reading glasses, and you have an astigmatism, and you're just like, what? How did this happen? How on green earth did this happen? And, oh, you have dry eye. That costs $1,000 to get a dry eye thing. And I'm like, I don't understand. So I think I was like at 125 reading glass. I think that's as bad as it got. I wouldn't let it go further. But Claudia said, reading glasses are the gateway drug to thicker glasses, worse vision. And at Garden of Eden, we don't like to take gateway drugs. So I threw away my glasses, and I started to doing all the blinking and, the different kinds of exercises that she showed us. And the most important thing that I did was I lowered the lights. I didn't, if I needed to see something, I kept the lights low, because and I really trained my eyes. I can read really small print. Now, not 12-year-old, the way a 12-year-old can, because I can't still see the teeny, like on bottles and stuff, like on the packaging. And so I can't see it. So I asked my 12-year-old niece to read it for me, and she can see it. So I haven't gotten there yet. What's wrong with me? Why can't I read that tiny print? Claudia?
Well, that because you didn't go beyond 21 days, but you're successful still, because you couldn't read any print without the glasses before, right. And now you can. And you're in your 60s like me, so we are not the spring chickens.
Sexy.
But here's the thing. So you bring in the food aspect, which is something that I don't teach. I love to eat healthy. So tell us a little bit about what you're going to show us today.
So I'm going to tell you what you can eat all day long for your eyes. And by the way, it's going to help your whole body. And one thing I like to do is I like to start off with a Heavy Metal Detox Smoothie. Now, I learned this from the Medical Medium and Anthony William. It is so delicious, and it has wild blueberries, cilantro, spirulina, barley grass juice powder, dulse, and orange juice and bananas. And you blend all that up and it makes about 4 cups. And I drink the whole thing, but I had to stop because my mouth was turning blue. I didn't want y'all to think I was an alien. But it is so delicious. Now, let me tell you about heavy metals. They're everywhere. They're everywhere in our body and they're everywhere in our brain. And where are our eyes? They're in the brain and they can really affect your vision. So the more you can get the heavy metals out of your system, the better you are. I mean, it's better for your liver, your kidneys, every organ, every tissue, every cell, and really great for the brain because Alzheimer's, they know that most people with Alzheimer's have a lot of heavy metals in their brain. And we got to get rid of them. And this is the way to do it. So that's how I like to start my day. And then, I get a little hungry after that, even though it's like 4 cups. And I love having dates and apples. I just love this. And I take a bite of a date, I take a bite of an apple, a bite of a date, a bite of an apple. And the glucose from the dates and the apple, it gets into your tissues and your cells and your organs, and it just regenerates them. It's really, really healthy. And so I love to do that for a snack. But what I really want to talk to you about is how to get the most nutrients possible in one meal, like a lot. If you do this, you will say to yourself, I'm good. You want to eat more during the day too, but hey, I'm good. I know I got so many nutrients. And so I created this 0-calorie salad, and I'm going to explain that to you. But what it is it's very important to get a lot of leafy greens. Leafy greens, leafy greens. In fact, I was just watching Dr. Clapper, my favorite doctor, talking about eye health. And he said, green, yellow, green, yellow, green, yellow. And what he meant was a lot of greens, a lot of vegetables, a lot of leafy greens, but also colors, yellow, orange, purple. So what I do is I get about 8 cups of leafy greens. Now I'm lucky. I have a garden. So I went out this morning and I got kale and curly kale and Ethiopian spinach, and I got bok choy and Swiss chard and several types of arugula and mustard greens. And I got 8 cups worth. I cleaned it really good in ice cold water. It just makes it so fresh. And then you spin it dry and let it dry on your counter. And then what I do is I chop it up. The 8 cups is now 4 cups. So I do that with a knife because you can eat more when it's smaller. Trying to eat a whole leafy green and, it's hard. So it's kind of already chopped up for you. Then look at my.
Can I interject? So you wash it and then you let it dry, right? I often use a salad spinner for that.
But
you said okay.
And
then you let it dry on the counter so it doesn't get too watery at the end. And then you put it in you chop it up. Yeah, I don't like that when you have these big. Sometimes you get a salad and they have these huge spinach leaves, and I'm like, how am I supposed to eat that? And
exactly.
Yeah,
And it's almost kind of partly chewed up for you. And then, because this is not just my salad, then I create a refrigerator salad bar. I totally recommend this. First of all, it makes your refrigerator look gorgeous. You open up your refrigerator and you see all these colors. And I make a salad bar. So I love red cabbage. So I slice up some red cabbage, red, yellow, and orange bell peppers. I love the light purple cauliflower. It's so pretty. Chickpeas. Just a can of chickpeas rinsed. I use the salt-free. Broccoli. I have radishes and carrots, not just sticks, and cucumbers and celery and fennel. I love fennel. Just try all different types of vegetables that you've never even had before. I have tomatoes and Brussels sprouts. Now,
so all of these have a lot of. I just want to make sure that we give people some background on the nutrients. So the dark leafy greens are powerhouses in terms of lutein, zeaxanthin, important for the macula, but they're also really high in beta carotene, right, which is the precursor to vitamin A. We always talk about carrots and night vision, but kale actually has more beta carotene than carrots, and bell peppers have more vitamin C than oranges. So sometimes all of the vegetables that you just showed have amazing benefits for the eyes. We need vitamin C, right, and vitamin A, vitamin D, lutein, zeaxanthin. And you talked about dulse earlier, right? The algae. I think a lot of people might not know what that is. We need that astaxanthin. We need these kind of sea vegetables also for eye health. So you want to talk a little bit more about all the ingredients in terms
Yes,
of.
and the other thing is that when every vegetable has protein, fat, and carbohydrate. So you're saying, where's the protein? Well, the protein is in all of this. And it's interesting to know where every time you say I'm plant-based, they say, where do you get your protein? Or if you're
I
vegan,
know.
where do you get your protein? And why do people ask that? Where do they get the idea in their head that you need a lot of protein? Well, it was the marketing, the cow industry, the dairy industry. Where's your calcium? Did you know that dairy and cheese actually depletes your bones of calcium, the acid in it? It does the opposite of what they say it's going to do. You can get your broccoli has so much calcium in it. And we could do what I would call reductionism. And we could go vegetable by vegetable, fruit by fruit, and tell you exactly what it has, what vitamins, what nutrients, what everything it has, zinc, all the things. But it's not necessary because, first of all, you'll drive yourself crazy trying to remember which one has what. And secondly, it's all good. It's all good. And with this salad, you are getting so many nutrients, all the vitamins, everything that you need. So don't worry about it. Just pick your favorite vegetables. By the way, I found the stalk of Brussels sprouts.
Oh my God.
It is I cut off and you if
Let
you
me just video. So there you go. Okay, sorry.
if
Go
you
ahead.
can find the Brussels sprouts on the stalk, they're in season right now. They stay fresher than the ones that are already pulled off, the ones that are already chopped. They are so sweet. I was with a young friend of mine the other day, and I was eating a raw Brussels sprout. She says, "Oh, I don't like raw Brussels sprouts." I said, "Taste it. It came off the stalk." She says, "Oh my gosh, it's good." Same with broccoli. Try it raw. It's so delicious. I'm not saying that you have to eat all raw. I love to have a big raw salad at lunch. I really do. For some reason, I do my steamed vegetables at dinner because they feel heavier and I feel more satiated with it. But with this huge salad, I like it raw. And you get a lot of nutrients. You don't denature it by cooking. But steamed and gently parboiling, even microwaving is okay. Dr. Greger of nutritionfacts.org says if you microwave your vegetables, you retain 95% of the vitamins and nutrients. And it scares you. Microwave, no, no, no. But roasting denatures, steaming denatures. When you cook, it denatures. But this is so quick. So I like to do it, but I also like to steam it because steaming keeps the water in more. It kind of adds more. And the more water you eat, the more satiated you are, and the more alkalizing it is for you and hydrating. So that's what I love to do.
So quick question. Thank you. I didn't want to interrupt, but before we get too far. So I like that you give us different options of heating up the food because I just got back from Germany yesterday. It was freezing cold. It was gray. I usually eat a salad every day at lunch, but I couldn't tolerate any cold foods. And even when I make a salad, like I love your beautiful preparing it. It's really quick to put it together because a lot of the time goes by shopping. But I even do a salad and I leave it out for 4 hours before I eat it because I can't tolerate the food right on the refrigerator, right? So I like the gently warmed, like steaming. And when you steam, right, I usually keep the steam water and I use it, let's say I blend it up or something. So I, don't toss it. So you still don't you still get the vitamins that way?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You can turn it into a broth. You can put more vegetables in it and turn it into a broth. Absolutely. And then turn it into a soup from there. Absolutely. Why waste it? We have a water source, don't we?
Some vegetables like spinach have different levels of, nutrients when they're cooked or slightly steamed versus raw. So I 100% agree with you. I don't overcook anything, but sometimes we want that kind of nourishing warmth, especially, we both live in Los Angeles, so it's not getting as cold here, but trust me, over there in the snow, and I really wanted something warm. So anyway, continue.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you. It's hard to drink the cold smoothie in the morning when it's cold outside.
I know.
I actually turn on the heat and then sometimes I go take a hot bath afterwards because my body is so cold.
But can you make it warm? Because, why don't you if it's a savory one, if it's savory, to me, you can make it a soup. You can just make it warm.
Well,
right?
I wouldn't do the wild blueberry smoothie, I wouldn't cook that.
Oh,
No.
no,
Yeah.
that's the sweet one. Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
It's
But
delicious.
it's
It is so delicious. So here's what I do. I just grab a handful of my salad bar ingredients and I put it into a Cuisinart. Okay. And I'll tell you why I do this. You know how you eat a salad? Usually it has cucumbers and tomatoes and maybe celery in it. So you have a bite of that, you have a bite of that, you have a bite of that. I realized that if I chop it all together, all the ingredients together, not to puree, but just chop, chop, chop. First of all, in every bite, you taste all of them together. And it is so delicious. It's like the sweetness with the little bit of bitterness and I mean, just the tomatoes kind of create a dressing as well. I don't know. It's just delicious. So this is what I like to do. And in every bite, you know, you're getting 1,000 nutrients, right? So I just pulse it. That's it. Okay, how fast that is? And look how beautiful it is. Isn't
I
that
love that.
magnificent? Okay, and to finish, what I like to do is I take my chopped lettuce and I put that on the bottom in a big bowl, big pretty bowl. We want to, you know, we eat with our eyes and then we eat for our eyes. That's what we're doing today. Okay. And then I just pour all this on top. And this is a big, beautiful, I probably did a little more than I usually do. I kind of got excited. And then what I like to do is I like to make a salad dressing, what I call the 0-calorie salad dressing. And it's, by the way, we have an ebook for everyone watching. If you go, there's a link, and if you click on the link, it takes you to our website and you can sign up for the newsletter and you will get the Garden of Eden, Eat for Your Eyes All Day Long ebook. And it's going to have all the recipes we're showing today and a few more. So what I like to do at this point is I don't feel like making a whole dressing sometimes. And I really just want something quick and easy, but delicious. And I discovered that half orange juice, half lime juice is such a delicious combination. Sometimes I mince some garlic and put it in there, sometimes a little ginger, but sometimes not. And I just use that as my salad dressing. Now, why do I call this a 0-calorie salad? Well, this is really an entree. But you know, when you go out to eat or when you're just eating at home, it's really important to eat a big salad but no oil. Now, why are we saying no oil? Well, before I get to that, well, I'll tell you this first. Why no oil, and then why this salad is 0 calories. I learned this from Dr. Clapper and all the other doctors in the plant-based world. Okay, oil, even olive oil, but you don't, I mean, if you're going to have oil, do extra virgin olive oil, but not a lot. The canolas, the rape seeds, the grape seeds, the palm oils, not healthy. Really, really terrible for us. Very processed, just not good. What happens is when we eat a lot of fat, all of our blood vessels are lined with endothelial cells, okay, endothelial, and they give off nitric oxide. And nitric oxide is a wonder for the body. So our fast-moving blood picks up that nitric oxide, takes it to every cell, tissue, and organ of the body, and regenerates it. Did you hear me? Regenerates. Makes us younger. The opposite of oxidizing, crusting over, you are really feeding the cells. Now, when you eat a lot of fat, oil, butter, dairy, cheese, you know, even too many nuts, too much avocado, too much fat, it really thickens the blood. And now the blood is slow moving. The nitric oxide first, it doesn't get to your cells, tissues, and organs. So we really want to limit the fat. I'm not saying fat is bad. Like I said, all these vegetables have fat in them, fat, carbohydrate, and protein. So, and we are a protein making machine. Our bodies create their own proteins. So you don't have to worry about any of that. What you really want to do is get as many nutrients as you possibly can into your plan. Now, why do we call this 0-calorie salad? And I learned this from Dr. Greger. He has a book out called How Not to Diet, and he has 20 tips or 21 on how not to diet. I did a whole video on it. It's really funny. One of the tips is drink big glass of water first thing in the morning. Another one, he says, eat a big breakfast, medium lunch, small dinner. But the other thing he says is that, wait, what was I talking about?
I'm talking about 0 calorie, but well, it's not 0 calorie.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So he came up with a 0 calorie salad. So he said, if you eat a big salad before dinner, you'll eat 100 calories less at dinner, at least 100 calories less at dinner, because you will have filled up your stomach a little bit and it's watery, so it's satiating. So eat a big salad. If you're trying to lose weight, eat a big salad. But if you have salad dressings with buttermilk and oil and sugar, like you usually put sugar in there and all this, then it kind of makes you hungrier because these, that fat, sugar, salt makes you hungrier. Makes you want more. So if you can keep these things out of your diet on a regular basis, you will satiate very quickly. And this salad dressing doesn't have any oil or fat or anything like that in it. And I also have a 0 calorie salad dressing on the ebook that has cucumbers and other things in it and makes it even more delicious. But I think this is divine. I want you guys to try it. And then you just mix it all together and you have the most beautiful, beautiful salad that's nutritious. And you're going to eat it with your eyes and you're going to eat it for your eyes. And every bite, I just want you to say, I'm doing something good for my body. Thank you. I'm doing something good for my body and my eyes. What do y'all think? Do you like it?
Well, let me see. There's some questions on YouTube, but first of all, everything that you make tastes delicious. I have a question. Did you put the chickpeas? Because I would probably think of putting some quinoa.
I forgot the chickpeas. Thank you. These are my croutons.
I ended them also, but I had some chickpeas and,
yes.
quinoa.
I forgot. Beans are really good, right, Claudia, for the eyes? Yeah. Really good. Yeah. So I forgot. I use these as croutons. These are my croutons.
You also showed me how to use asparagus and cut it really thin and make that the crouton. So I absolutely love that. And the dressing, like I said, I was kind of skeptical with because I haven't eaten sugar in a long time, but with the salt, and it's actually like, I feel like the body takes care of it when we give it the right nutrients. It kind of all works out. And so let me see, there's a question on YouTube. I want to make sure we cover those. How much do we eat daily? I apologize if you said this already. Yeah. So that's the one thing you see. I don't know if that bowl was just for you, but when I eat my salad, it's a huge bowl because it's, it's not as nutrient dense as those kind of heavy duty calorie, right? So I would eat that I would easily eat that.
It's a big bowl.
Yeah, but I could still, or maybe half, maybe a little bit more than half because I don't know the exact size of that one. But when you're plant-based and you don't eat a lot of, like those oils and stuff like that, it's the amount, the quantity is definitely bigger. And also you get fiber, like you talked about in the beginning, we know that the microbiome is so important and you only get fiber. I learned that from a friend of mine who also works with the, what is it called? The Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine. And she said, animal products have no fiber. And I never thought of that. I'm like, you're right. And people buy Metamucil or whatever to get more fiber. You get all the fiber in the world from these beautiful plants. So how much do we eat daily? What are you saying, Edie?
You know what? Just until you're satiated. You don't have to overdo it. I will say, I did a salad like this while I was out of town at a friend's house. And I hadn't eaten much. So I was like, I'm starving. And I ate the whole thing and I ate it kind of fast, which I don't recommend. And it took a good hour for it to digest. And then I felt fantastic, but I'm like, oh man. But I knew I got all my nutrients in. I knew I got those nutrients in. But just eat until you're satiated and you can save it for later. It doesn't go bad. It's, it's delicious later.
Okay, so that basically, yeah, until you're satiated. I know when I switched to a plant-based diet, like I said, that like the volume of what I eat is just so much bigger because it's not as calorie dense as what I would have eaten in the past. Maybe a sandwich. I was just, like I said, I got back from Germany. Everybody, when you go to all the store, everybody eats sandwiches there. Like basically, that's all. Everything is like bread. Bread and then cheese and cold cuts on it and so that is a lot more calorie dense, and then you might be okay with a little, like, sandwich. But with the salad like that you made, I would probably eat a pretty big portion.
Well, and the other thing is I like to steam or roast sweet potatoes or yams, and they have a lot more nutrients than just the white potatoes, but the white potatoes I eat a lot of as well. But I love the purple flesh and the orange, and then that white Hannah is so delicious and sweet. And I like to steam them, cut them up and dice them, steam them, and put that in the salad. And that the beans and the potatoes really satiate you, and they're creamy. They're kind of creamy, so it adds that creamy texture to it. So I totally recommend that.
I mean, I used to love salade niçoise, the French salad where you have green beans and potatoes and tuna. And now I don't do the tuna, but I know there's a way to make it with celery, like a vegan one that tastes really good.
Yes.
I mean, if you ever go to, like, those vegan places that are more like gourmet, I mean, you realize you don't have to suffer, right? Neither Edie nor me are suffering in terms of I'm totally loving food. Like, I could never become plant-based if it doesn't taste amazing. So that to me is the number one thing. But also you made, I don't know if you have that for us today, but I have a sweet tooth and I don't eat sugar anymore, but you talked about dates and apples. And I know you made those little, in our 4-part video series, we made these little power balls because I also love chocolate and cocoa, right? Do you have something for that?
Well, yes, I do.
Okay.
Let me scoot things over. Okay, salad is over. By the way, I could not find a mango at the grocery store right now because I was going to teach you how to make my mango tango mocktail, because we don't want to suffer there either. We want to have something delicious and just celebratory. And it's in the ebook. It's in the ebook. But I wanted to show you how the best way to peel a mango. But we have that on my video, so you can find it. But,
right.
but Claudia said she likes chocolate.
Yes, I do.
When you ask, you receive. So it's Valentine's Day. So I made these chocolate fudge hearts, all different sizes. It's 4 ingredients, you guys. It's so easy. It's dates. And by the way, you can get very dried dates that have pits in them. Don't get those. Get these pitted dates, and they're wet. You can see they're dark and they're wet. They're not dry. This is what you want in the recipe. So I just want to let you know that. It takes like 18 or 20 to make about a cup. So it's about 5.5 ounces worth of dates. I'm just going to tell you that. And it's on my website too. So what you do in the Cuisinart is you put some maple syrup, and you put the dates, and you put almond butter, creamy. Now, that sounds like a lot of fat, and it is, but you're not eating the whole thing. And it is a sweet. It's a dessert. And it's beautiful for Valentine's Day. So you whisk all that up until it turns into a ball, and then you add cocoa powder. So Claudia, tell us why cocoa powder is so good for us.
It's very high in antioxidants. Obviously, you don't want the sugar. So cocoa is also magnesium. I mean, chocolate itself, especially if you do the raw form, if you don't buy any kind of processed. I'll eat cocoa nibs. I know I love the cocoa nibs. But I have a question for you. You just mentioned maple syrup. So to me, that would be sugar. Tell us, like, because how does that not fall into the sugar category for you? I'm just curious.
Okay, it's not processed like white sugar. And people have fruit fear. They say that's too much sugar. Even their doctors say don't eat sugar, don't eat fruit if you're diabetic. Well, the people who wrote Mastering Diabetes, Robbie Barbero and Cyrus Kambota, he's a PhD. Together, they both had type 1 diabetes. And they were both on a mission. One got it at 28 and one got it at 17, really later in life. And they eat so much fruit, 9 mangoes a day, Cyrus eats. And they just eat every single fruit in the world. That is so filled with anthocyanins and antioxidants, and it's something you really need. It's really great for you. So look up Mastering Diabetes, and they can explain all that to you. But maple syrup is one of those, okay, and honey, it's not quote unquote vegan. I mean, I think it is the way I look at what vegan is, but honey has so many antiseptic properties. It's so healthy, especially locally grown because it's in the air. So it's more amenable to your body from where you're living. So I will use honey and I will use maple syrup. And
Okay, great.
I'll do date syrup. I'll make my own date syrup, pomegranate molasses, but no sugar in it. So you can flavor your things with some sweets. It's okay. It's not going to spike your blood pressure.
Okay, that's good to know. And I know Bobby really well, and Robbie, sorry, and I have his book. I know that I think that the balance is what and this is everybody has to make their own. We don't want to give any medical advice. Everybody should talk to their doctor, and what you did, Edie, find somebody, maybe find a doctor that's open to those kind of approaches, because I know that Robbie and Cyrus, they don't eat any fat. They eat like basically no fat at all. They only eat kind of like your salad with fruits and lots of fruits. So that is like a balance. I think if you eat a lot of fats, then the food will probably not be so healthy for you if you eat too much of that sugar. But I think it's like that's where it's coming into dialing it in, right? What is your take? Because I feel like we're all reacting a little different to things and dialing in what works for you. And you talked about maybe getting a stomach ache. I realized, for instance, that raw cauliflower, I always get a stomach ache when I eat raw cauliflower for something. And, that could also be a microbiome, a thing that needs to be fixed. But I think it's really important that we look at our symptoms, and if the food doesn't fit well with us, no matter, I hate when people call it a superfood, because kale is, really high in oxalates, and some people have some tremendous issue with oxalates, kidney stones and so on. So I think there's also different kinds of kale, and some kale has a lot of oxalate and some doesn't, and so really dialing it in for your own needs. But what we're saying here, Edie, when I hear it right, is like getting that rainbow nutrient, then like the nutrients, and I love how you chop it up and making it really delicious, making it easy. If you prepare like a salad, if you chop it all up and then you just grab it from the fridge, it's so easy. You have enough for like 4 or 5 days, right? You don't have to because that to me is the most time consuming thing, is chopping it all up. But if you do that once, go ahead.
It actually took me about 20 minutes to prepare all this.
Wow.
It really did not take me. Well, I do chop fast.
I don't have those knife skills that they teach you. So I have, let's see, so basically there's no questions, that's just comments that, one person said, that eye doctor said there's no way you can improve your vision. And yeah, I think sometimes, questioning your doctor or switching to the doctor if they don't align with your values is super important. And when it comes to food, a lot of doctors have never even learned that food is so important. But I know you have more than one pillar. I know in your Garden of Eden world, you have more. It's not just about food, right? So what are the other 2 pillars of optimal health and optimal eye health?
Yes, when I started Garden of Eden, I said to myself, it's not just about food. And I went to brain training camp and I did meditation retreats and I've done all sorts of things that have created this life that I am now living now. So what I've really come to know at the bottom of my soul is, yes, it's very important what seeds you're planting in your body garden for health. Absolutely. And you can be healthy if you eat right, but you could also be very unhealthy too. If you don't have a lot of love and compassion in your heart for yourself and others, you're stressed out, you have angst. This is oxidizing. This is making your whole body not work, not take in the nutrients. So you can eat the healthiest person and run like crazy and all that, but if you're angry and you're sad and all these things, it's really going to mess with everything in your system, including your eyes. And so what we practice here is just compassion. No, if someone's mean to you, I feel sad for them, because why would they be mean? There's something going angst-wise in their system. Just have compassion and send love towards them, and send love to yourself and say, good girl for not reacting. Good girl for protecting yourself from the negative energies. So we talk a lot about that on Garden of Eden, but also what seeds are you planting in your mind garden for joy and success in all areas of life? And I went to this brain training camp, and they were teaching us to be creative, how to open up the alpha state in meditation. But what it was really all about, and they didn't tell you this, is they made us go through every single person we could think of that did anything wrong to us, anything mean, anything anybody hurt us, something major traumatic that happened to us, or even the tiniest little thing, someone hitting you, from the smallest to the biggest. And you had to go through this process of first go charging, you're in this pod, your brain's all hooked up, and they say, charge them and say why they did this wrong and why did they do this and how mean were they? And then the next 2 minutes you have to forgive and you have compassion for them. And if the wires would tell you, your brain would tell you, did you forgive them? It would say yes or no. So until you forgave them, it was fascinating. It's called BioCybernaut, where I went. Anyway, long story short, after 3.5 days of blaming and charging everybody and then forgiving them, I felt free. I felt light. I felt like this. I mean, I feel it right now. I just felt this like bubble or aura of happiness, and like no one can ever hurt me again because it's all in me, you know, how I take things or not take things. So it's really, it's just fascinating and wonderful to be able to forgive, and you rewire that brain for happiness and health. And that's what we try to teach.
I absolutely love that. And people have commented on YouTube. Yeah, I think it's so important, not just to look at the food, you know, but the food is like I love what you said about the seed, putting the food. Before we come to a close, you mentioned the mango and the mocktail. So I just want
to show you these pretty cookies, chocolate brownies.
Let me hide my own video so people can. Oh, wow.
One has walnuts on it. And we know how walnuts are great for the eyes. And one has coconut. And then when you make this for your loved one, you can say, I'm coconut over you.
Oh, I'm coconut over you. That is so cute. I do want to mention, you know, like, especially we just had the holidays, you know, and a lot of people drink a lot of alcohol. And we know that alcohol is literally poison for your body and your brain and your eyes. But I love, you know, and sometimes you don't want to just drink sparkling water, or you don't just want to drink something boring. And I have on your YouTube, on your Instagram, on your website, you have a lot of amazing, and I know you wanted to show this to us today, but you make beautiful non-alcoholic drinks that are really like, I think the envy of everybody that drinks just a glass of wine.
It's true.
Can you say, I don't know, I know you don't have anything ready to show us right now, but what is your approach?
On the ebook, you'll see the mango tango mocktail. A couple of things inspired me. So I wanted to create an alcohol-free red wine. And I was having Dr. Clapper and a bunch of doctors and all these plant-based people over for dinner. So I created a Garden of Eden wine, not Cabernet, not N-E-T. So I said to Dr. Clapper, I'm going to serve wine tonight. He says, okay. I said, but it doesn't have any alcohol in it. He says, really? What is it? So I made it up, and it's just wild blueberry juice, which is so healthy, as you already know. And then I made hibiscus tea, which I love. It's great for the blood pressure too. It's great for everything. I love it. And some honey. And I mix those together, and it kind of swirls like wine. It kind of has legs, and everybody loved it. And what was really funny was everybody was swirling their glass. It was just really funny. And that got me thinking, well, I used to love champagne. So I did Garden of Eden's sweet rosé. I call it rosé because you feel good afterwards. And brut rosé, the drier kind. So one has strawberries, which makes it sweeter, and one has raspberries, which makes it not quite as sweet. But it has Perrier in it, which doesn't have the salt in it. And the raspberry, you juice them, and it's just really, it's really delicious. And so I've come up with other things like that. And the other thing I love to do is I got a great niece. Now she's 2, but when it was time for purees, her mom didn't have to make them. She didn't like cooking. And I said, I'll make the purees. So I made all these super healthy purees for the baby, and I turned them into sauces or mocktails for the parents. So while you're cooking for your baby,
I love
turn the baby puree into a sauce. So I got broccoli and I steamed it over water that had a rosemary sprig in it. And studies show that when you sniff rosemary before a test or before speaking or before presenting, you do better because it enhances the brain. So I put the rosemary in the water, took the rosemary out, put the broccoli with a little of that rosemary water in it, pureed it, and made a puree. And baby Lucy loved it. And so then I did steamed cauliflower. And in that water, I put smoked paprika. And paprika is very healthy too. So all these spices and all these cilantro and sage and all of these herbs are really, really healthy. So she loved that. And so I turned that into a sauce for vegetables for the parents. And same with the rosemary broccoli. And it went on and on and on from there. And then it turned into mocktails. And
I love that. Is so cool. So first of all, quick question before we end. You said wild blueberries. So do you juice them yourself, or do you buy already the blueberry juice? Because juice is so hard to find, the clean ones that are not already from concentrate or have anything added to them.
Well, Wyman's is the wild blueberries frozen that are so delicious. And there's a big difference in wild blueberries and regular. Mm-hmm. The regular ones kind of are white on the inside. This is blue. It stains your mouth. That's why I couldn't eat it before, but it stains your mouth. Well, Wyman's has a wild blueberry juice in bottles. So I bought like a dozen, and you can keep them. They keep forever in the refrigerator. And I use it all the time. Sometimes I'll pour it in just Perrier, or I'll just drink it straight. I love it with lime juice. Me and lime juice. What can I say? I love the lime juice. And you can just make your own ideas out of it too. I love it.
That's so great. What I learned from you is adding a little bit of lemon. Sometimes if you feel you want some more salt, adding a little bit of lemon, and it makes it immediately. I learned so much from you, and we get some comments here that this was super interesting. So thank you so much, Edie. So people can find you. I put the links in YouTube. They're also under the show, in the show notes, all the links for your website where people can get the ebook, your Instagram, your YouTube, right? Those are the best places to follow you.
And I love being here, and I love being with you, Claudia. You make me smile. You just make me, I got to take more classes though. I want to read the fine print.
We'll get to that. We will work on that, and maybe we create a new video series based on that. But type in the chat or on YouTube, I'm interested. We want to come up with a book, like a vision book, right, with recipes for the eyes, because I love to cook, but I'm definitely not somebody who has any aspirations of creating recipes. And you're the expert, Edie, and everything tastes so delicious. And I love how simple you make it, right? You because you don't want to spend all day in the kitchen either. So you make it simple. And the easier you make it for yourself to eat healthy, right? To me, if it's easy to make, or if it's prepared, I tell you a funny story to end this. So I flew yesterday from Germany via London to Los Angeles. And I was in the American Airlines lounge in London, and they had these the little chia thingies, right? And I was like, I always bring containers. So the flight attendants were always like, wow, what are you doing? I'm like, I always bring containers, because you never know what you're going to get in the airplane. And I also don't want to bring too much food. So when I'm in the lounge and I fill that up, and then the plane, they had raspberries, and they gave me a big bowl of fruit because I ordered the vegan meal, and I put the raspberries. So I got a glass from them, right? Like a nice glass. I put the chia in there with the raspberries, and the flight said, wow, like, how did you make that? Where's that from? Like, I just scavenge, like, whenever I see something, I always have containers with me. And then you can create on the fly, on the plane, you can actually eat healthy, delicious, right? That don't leave you bloated and even more jet lag, right?
That's right. You got it. I do the same thing.
Right? It's like, I know I always say I'm a little hamster. I always like bring it, whenever I get something delicious. Anyway, thank you so much. We will have a little private Q&A in our Clear Vision Club on Zoom. So thank you so much, YouTube, for being here and asking questions and showing up. So thank you, Edie. And
nice to see all of you.
Make sure you follow her. She's just amazing and so inspirational and just so much fun. All right. Bye, YouTube.
Bye. It was fun. Thanks so much.